So welcome to HR Matters with Sarah Collier from KBL and Phil Badley from Elevate Your Clinic. Sarah, there's lots going on in the world at the moment around vaccinations, so we thought it would be good to have a short conversation to let therapy business owners know what's going on or what we think might be happening. So what can you tell us about what's likely to be required of businesses as we go forward around vaccinations?
Many of my clients at the moment, Phil, well, thank you for inviting me along, should I
You're
say, first of
welcome.
all. The reason this came about is many of my clients are contacting us to say, you know, can we force our employees to have the vaccine? The short answer is, no, we can't, put them on the floor, inject them whilst we're holding their hands and legs down. That's not something that we're going to be able to do. But I think what businesses are able to do and what is being encouraged, and many businesses out there have actual vaccination policies in place within their workplace, is to encourage people, to inform them, give them all of the the good source information from Public Health England, from the government, etc., and from the NHS, to provide them with the right information and to explore with them, why is it you don't want to have the vaccine? Try to engage with them, consult with them about this, and try to get them to the point where hopefully you're encouraging them to be vaccinated for the right reasons. Because of course, if it's a therapy business, we've got clients coming in here. We owe a duty to those clients. We don't want to make people ill, and trying to sort of engage with them and understand why. I think what we have to also factor in, though, is that there may be reasons relating to health conditions and many other factors of where employees will be exempt from being vaccinated. I know of a client I've recently been advising where their employee has been told by their doctor they simply can't be vaccinated, and therefore, of course, it's not fair for us to start to try to put pressure on them when they're in a position. So it's understanding really why they can't and encouraging them as best we can to be vaccinated.
Okay, so that also covers off, I think, the implications, doesn't it, for therapy business owners? One of the issues potentially is where we've got contracts or we've got relationships with third-party organisations, perhaps care homes, perhaps GP surgeries. Do you think the regulations will be different in this respect?
Well, what we've recently seen, as recently in the last few weeks, is the Department of Health and Social Care publishing their response to the government's consultation on whether or not the vaccine should be a condition of deployment for workers in care homes in England for those dealing with adult residents. And the government's response in relation to that is that, yes, it is going to be mandatory for care workers in those types of organisations in the care home sector to be vaccinated. So at the moment, they are looking to bring in that legislation. And there is likely to be a sort of 16-week grace period before that comes into force. So from the date that it comes into force for care workers to be able to go and get vaccinated in that window. But what we've seen in terms of the government's response to the proposals that have been set out in the original consultation documentation is that they are anticipating extending this vaccination requirement to persons who enter into a care home building, such as health professionals, therapists, CQC inspectors, beauticians and other tradespeople. So effectively, it won't just be the care home staff and volunteers, it will be wider. So I anticipate that, subject to the final wording of the legislation, that it will have an impact on therapy businesses who go in and conduct therapy services within care homes.
So that potentially is going to be bespoke to the individual therapy business in terms of the services they provide to other organizations within their locality. So that could mean mandatory vaccination for individuals that are providing those kind of services. So something definitely to keep in mind and to pay attention to.
Absolutely, and those individuals, whether they're care workers or those extended individuals we've just discussed, will need to provide evidence that they have completed their course of an authorised vaccine, or that they are exempt, because obviously they may be, and they will have to have evidence of their exemption. So yeah, it's definitely something that that is topical at the moment, and that businesses are wanting to know where they stand on.
So what do you think, what would you advise therapy business owners to be doing at the moment in relation to this this potential change in the rules and the guidance?
I think speaking with all of their staff, consultants, associates, whoever they engage with, to explore it. Most people may be very open to say, I've had it, I've had both vaccines, and I'm happy to give you evidence to show I have.
Mm.
That might be the case for all of the individuals within the therapy businesses. If it's not, and if there are individuals who are not in that position, then it's about sitting down with them and saying, what's the issue with the vaccine? And if it's an issue that is medically exempt, then that's a different matter. And of course, there will be evidence that they can produce. And it might be worth saying, look, particularly if they are going to work in the care field, we might need you to get evidence. So it might be worth getting that in place now, to sort of preempt what might come down the line, so that there's no interruption of flow of therapy services. But equally, if their reasons are less medical or exemption related, and it's more, do you know what, I've seen a couple of videos on the internet, and I'm a bit nervous that it alters my DNA, then it might be something that you could explore with them further, and get some information from the reliable sources, as I said before, the NHS, Public Health England, and really try to just encourage them in any way. A lot of businesses are offering time off for individuals to go and have their vaccine, so that's a bit of an incentive. Look, have the day off, go and get the vaccine, if you're able to. So yeah, I think that's, or other, that there have been other businesses that are putting other types of incentives in place for individuals to be vaccinated. So there might be some creative thinking that can go on within therapy businesses as what their employees or associates might be interested in getting, extra days holiday or whatever. I know financial incentives have been put in place, although I'm not sure where I sit on that thought.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I think it's just really sitting down and understanding it, but hopefully the vast majority of people in that sector, I suspect, will be saying, look, I've already had the vaccine, I'm happy to provide you with the evidence that I've had it, and they're all sorted. It's just dealing with those that might not be as easy with.
And I know that we're going to provide some further updates as more information becomes available. But where can I find out more in terms of that consultation and what might be happening, Sarah?
The government websites are really helpful with all of this information, so that's where I've been directing clients who want to find out exactly what the position is. There's no better place than the horse's mouth itself. So
Yeah.
I would direct people to .gov.uk, where they can find out all of the information. And as I said, at the moment, it's not, the legislation is not in force. What's been produced early this month was a response to consultation and how the government intend to respond, but they are yet to sort of bring that secondary legislation into place.
That's really helpful. And from a therapy point of view, obviously the professional bodies and the memberships like CSP and others would be also a good place to look to see how that information is going to be interpreted. But as we said earlier on, or as Sarah said earlier on, the context of the contracts and the requirements of perhaps the contractors that you're working with, or the contracts that you're providing, or perhaps in some cases even the accommodation in which you're providing your services will have an impact upon the requirements for vaccination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for that, Sarah. And if you've enjoyed listening to HR Matters with Sarah and Phil, then we have a whole series of these on the Elevate Your Clinic website. So if you want to find out more, go to www.elevateyourclinic.com. Until next time, Sarah.
Thank you.